Hi, this is Shane Bishop with the EWWW Image Optimizer, and today we're not talking about that plugin. We're talking about our SWIS Performance plugin, and notably our Optimized JS Loading plugin. And we're going to look at some information that you can gather or look at yourself to help troubleshoot any errors that might occur with this setting to make sure we can defer all of your scripts and not just some of them or most of them, but to get all of them and not have to add anything into the exclusions, or at the very least report those exclusions to our team so we can add them for future releases. So on our test site here, we actually have an error right now with the latest release. It happened to us even. How awesome is that? So it's not readily apparent, but sometimes yours might be if it's a slider or a menu or something like that, and you go, ha, it's broken. Why is it broken? So right click on your page and go to inspect, and that will open up the Chrome developer tools, or if you're using Edge or Firefox or whatever, that opens up your developer tools, and go over to the console tab, and there we see we have a JavaScript error. Another place that we can see those without the console is in the SWIS Manage JS and CSS panel. And in this case, it doesn't really give us a lot of helpful information, and so that's why it's helpful to know where to find them in the console. Some errors SWIS can see, some errors are kind of hidden from SWIS, and so there's not much it can tell you other than, hey, there's an error. Have fun with that. But in the console, we can see exactly what's going on with the error, where it's coming from, and in this case, it's something to do with affiliate WP. So one of the first things we need to see from the support side is either a screencast or a screenshot of the developer console in your browser and see what errors are actually happening. The second thing is to look at the page source and see what that script looks like in the page source. And so that helps us know, if the script is being, corrupted or mangled or whatever the case might be, and to also see if it's actually being deferred like it's supposed to be. And so in this case, we could search just for AFFWP because that was the variable name, but sometimes it's helpful to see all the scripts that are on your page. If there's too many of them, of course, um, don't go too crazy. Just make sure we see the ones that are important. But it's very helpful to see a screencast of the page source and what all the scripts look like in that page source. And so we're going to go through here and look for that affiliate WP script, as well as the tracking script that goes along with that. And so here they are. Here's where that variable is being declared or defined, and here's the script that is using it. And oddly, in this case, the script that's using it is above it. And in a minute, some bonus content, I'll show you why that is and how that actually works, because it's not super normal, but in this case it works. And this particular inline script is being deferred. It's not corrupted, but it's deferred, which is making it run after the external script. And it doesn't really need to be deferred because all it's doing is defining variables. So anytime we see these little tiny inline scripts where, like this guy up here, it's just defining some variables. Not super important to defer those because they don't delay render blocking. They happen in less than milliseconds. So we can add this to the exclusions, and we'll actually add this to the default exclusions in the plugin itself. But just to show you what we would do otherwise, we add them into the optimized JS loading exclusions, save them, and that will get rid of the error. And it's gone. Now, one other thing that we'll often check as well, and so this is helpful to see if you're able to do a screencast, or at least if you can check to see, is SWIS actually the culprit? And so how we can do that is we can add a query string that looks like this, SWIS underscore disable equals 1, and that completely disables SWIS. And we can verify that by inspecting it or by viewing the page source, which is probably the easier way, and then going and looking at our scripts. And we can look at one of our scripts and go, oh look, there's no more defer. Before there was a defer. If we look at any of our scripts, we have this defer attribute next to them. So when that's gone, we know SWIS is disabled and it's not doing anything. If there's still errors when SWIS is disabled, well then it's in another plugin. And you can go try and track that down. We can sometimes help you, but that's beyond the scope of this video. Anyway, the last thing that is really helpful for us to see when you're having script errors is to see a debug log of what SWIS is actually doing when it's building your page. And so let's go back to the page with SWIS enabled. And to generate a debug log, we enable debugging, save that, and then to make sure there's no extra junk in that log, we're going to click View Debug Info and we're going to clear the log so that we have a fresh start. Then we're going to go over and load our home page or whatever page is having issues. Let that finish. Come back to SWIS, refresh the SWIS page, view debug info, and view the debug log. And of course, this doesn't need to make any sense to you. You can save it, give it a helpful name like SWIS debug, and on our EU test site .log. Something like that is helpful. That way it's not just swiss.log and gets lost in our in our folders. So save that and send that over to our support as well, and that will be super helpful. So recap, check the dev console, view the page source, do a screencast of what all the script elements and tags look like, run a debug log, check the plugin, or check the page rather, with SWIS disabled like that, and then generate the debug log and send that all over, and that will be a huge help to our team and helps to avoid us needing to ask for admin access to your site to do all of that. Bonus content time. So why in the world does this script run before its variables are defined, and how? So to see that, we're going to look at this script, and we see that it begins with jQuery document ready. And so that's kind of a wrapper that makes it so that the rest of this script doesn't run until after jQuery detects that the document or the page is ready. And so that has the effect of kind of deferring the rest of this until the page is loaded. And that way, this is normally defined by the time the document is ready. But when we defer this script, it doesn't run until the document is ready either. So the tracking script comes along and says, hey, is the document ready? And jQuery goes, oh yeah, go ahead and run. So it runs before this ever happens, because this will happen later after these other scripts have run. Before deferring these, it would run after the document's ready, and this would run while the page is still loading and rendering. But once we defer it, that's what breaks things. So that's your little bonus content into JavaScript troubleshooting. All right, we hope that helps, and we hope that we can help you make your site even faster by deferring all of your JavaScript, except for stuff like this that doesn't need to be. So, happy optimizing as always, and talk to you later.